but I'll try not lower the bar so far. So thanks for the intro. There's quite a lot to cover. So basically my job today is to sort of give you a breakdown of various topics on business, and as a way to help you go deeper or just delve deeper into some of the business aspects. So I work with entrepreneurs. As a brief introduction, I work with entrepreneurs. I lecture, I train, I mentor, but also I have businesses. I've started businesses before. I've been bankrupt. So I'm an accountant. I'm a chartered accountant by profession, unfortunately, but I'm not practicing. I have a master's in business admin and a PhD in entrepreneurship. So I love the topic. I love working with entrepreneurs from different businesses. I mentor quite a lot of entrepreneurs. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the session. I'm looking forward to sharing my insights, but I'm also looking forward to your questions and discussions. So please feel free as I go through the masterclass. Please feel free to ask questions on chat. We'll have a moment where we'll have a discussion as well. It's quite a lot to go through. We actually run 6 months to 12 months programs. So what I've tried to do is I've tried to take some of the most important topics that I've seen entrepreneurs struggle with, we try and see if we can help entrepreneurs. So I'm bringing those because those are some of the things that I've picked up in my journey as an entrepreneur, but also seeing other entrepreneurs go through. So basically, I love telling stories. So I'll be sharing quite a lot of stories. It's far more than numbers and facts and figures. So I'll share some stories. Some of the stories are my personal stories that I've gone through as an entrepreneur, but some of the stories are the stories of either some of the entrepreneurs that I've mentored, some of the books that I've read, or some of my friends who are entrepreneurs that have gone through. Right, so let's get into it. So it's quite a lot to cover. I hope that we'll be able to get through everything. I'm gonna try and get through everything, but if I feel like I'm skipping certain topics, please feel free to shout, and just go back and say, oh, I have a challenge here in my business. Can you please elaborate? And I'll be free to elaborate. What is quite interesting with what Michelle was saying, and partly what Osdumagas was saying, is what I'm going to go through is what they spoke about. Some of the challenges, some of the things that they did, and some of the tips that they shared are some of the things that I'm going to talk about, which means that, much as each entrepreneur's journey is different, there are commonalities, there are common challenges, there are common solutions that we can try and work on. So the topics that I'm going to go through are 5 topics: entrepreneur mindset, which is quite important as an entrepreneur. And I think if you have listened to Michelle's story, you'll realize that one of the things that she talks about is resilience, is perseverance, which is quite important. So entrepreneurship is 2 things, right? When we teach it to our students, it's 2 things. One is the soft skills and then the hard skills. You need to have the soft skills, which means you need to have the right mindset. You need to have the psychology, the right psychology, perseverance, hard work, tenacity, never giving up. So it's the soft skills, but also it's the hard skills. So you need to have the right tools. You need to know how to cost and price. You need to know marketing. You need to know how to pitch and present, because you might be motivated, you might be inspired, but if you're using the wrong tools, that motivation is not going to last. You'll find that you're going to give up because you've tried everything and you realize that maybe this is not for me, but actually with hindsight, it's because you're using the wrong tools. So inspiration, motivation alone is not enough. You need to also have the right tools so that the two combined, you are able to build a sustainable business, right? Which is what this session is about, which is to say, here are some of the tools that I'll be sharing with you that are going to help you. But these are not just theory. This is not a lecture or a theory. These are things that entrepreneurs have used and they've worked for them. And I'm hoping that they'll also work for you. Right. So it's the mindset. We'll go through BMC, business model canvas. Some of you may have gone through it. I'm gonna try and go through it as well. We'll look at the numbers, finances, critical, very important. One of the questions was about financial sustainability. It's important that you know your numbers. My experience is a lot of entrepreneurs don't know their numbers. And what then happens is if you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. You're just passionate. What you're doing is passion. Because at the end of the day, entrepreneurship is a game. Business is a game. And if you're going to play this entrepreneurship game, you're going to have the numbers to see if you are winning in this game, if you are financially building a business that's sustainable. Because without the finances, you can't run a business. It becomes very hard or even impossible to run a business without finances. So the cash flow of the business is the lifeblood of any business. So it's important that you understand your numbers, your break-even point, you understand your cash flow management. And I find that a lot of entrepreneurs don't know their numbers. They don't know what their break-even number is every month. So you ask them, okay, what's your break-even number this month? They don't know. It's a surprise to them when the business is making a profit. So it's as if their business catches them by surprise. That, okay, what happened? How did we make a profit? So it's important that you know your numbers. Number 4, we'll talk about building systems and processes. Ultimately, entrepreneurship is about building a business that can run without you. That's the goal, right? Can you build this thing? Can it operate? Can it run without you? If it cannot run without you, you're not an entrepreneur, you are self-employed. You are working in this business. And in fact, you're worse off because you are in this self-employed situation where you can't even afford to fall sick. You can't even afford to take holiday, because if you take holiday, nothing happens in the business. So we'll talk about working in the business versus working on the business. So you want to be able to build a business that can run without you. And the question that you need to be constantly asking yourself on a daily basis is, can this run without me? What decisions do I need to make for this business to be able to run without me? And then we'll finish off with pitch presentations, which is key. If you're an entrepreneur, you need to know how to pitch. I have the opportunity and the privilege to sit as a judge on a number of pitch presentations. The recent one I was in was about 3 weeks ago. We were adjudicating over, I think, about 120 pitches over a period of 4 days. So we're adjudicating 40 pitches a day, 30 pitches a day for 4 days. And it's quite sad to see how a lot of entrepreneurs don't know how to pitch. So when you say to them, pitch, do a pitch presentation, they do a product presentation. So they have 5 minutes and they spend the whole 5 minutes telling us about their product, how it works, the features of the product. That's not a pitch, that's a product presentation. It's as if you are at a product launch. So there's a difference between a pitch presentation and a product presentation. So we'll then go through that. I'm hoping that, there's more to what you need to know, but I thought, given the time that we have, let's try and see if we can do justice to these 5 topics. So what I'll do is I've decided, let me start with the first 3 topics: the mindset, the BMC, and the finance. And then let's take a break and see if we can't do the discussion, the questions, and thereafter we can then do the last remaining 2 sessions, building systems and processes and pitch presentation. So let's get into it. Mindset, right? So this is quite important. And I think this is also it's a topic that it's very underrated in entrepreneurship as a discipline, but also it's underrated because we don't think it's a mushy topic. It's a very mushy topic, and often mushy topics are not really taken seriously. But this is an absolute important topic because in your entrepreneurship journey, you are going to make mistakes, you are going to fail, you're going to second guess yourself, you're going to be asking yourself, what am I doing? You see your peers are moving forward, they are buying houses, they're buying cars, and you're gonna be saying, and your business is struggling and orders are not coming through and you're getting rejected, your proposals are getting rejected. And you'll come to a point where you second guess yourself and you ask yourself, maybe this is not for me. You have your peers who are working and you are struggling. And what then happens is they then come and say, you know what? There's a job opportunity at work. Please give me your CV and let's see if we can get you a job. And maybe that's a cue for you to say, maybe this doesn't work, and you give up on your entrepreneurship journey. So it's very easy on this journey to feel like this is not working. You need to be a bit schizophrenic to be an entrepreneur, because you wake up in the morning, you are excited, you are looking forward to slaying the dragons in the day, and you feel this is going to work. And then you receive that call, or you get a regret letter from one of your potential customers that you were pitching at for the past 6 months. You were coaching them and they come with a regret letter. You wake up, you're excited, an hour later, you get a regret letter, and then you are down. And then maybe 2 hours later, something happens and it pulls you up. In the afternoon, something happens and you're down again. So you have this up and down of emotions on a daily basis, where you feel one moment I'm winning, the next moment this thing is winning against me. You need to have a good support system. As an entrepreneur, you're gonna have to find a good support system that keeps you going even when the chips are down. It's so easy to have friends and fans and supporters when you're winning the game. It's so easy for us to say, Michelle, wow, this is amazing, you're doing very well, because she's winning the game. But I bet you there were times where she was like, what am I doing? This is not working. We don't have money and all those kind of things. And during those days, no one is there for you, right? And you are going to encounter those days where there's no one is there for you, where you feel like maybe this thing is not working. And this is the days where you then need to have a good support system. Unfortunately, most of us don't have, we don't come from families where there were businesses before. We come from family business, and we are able to be mentored. Most of us are first generation entrepreneurs in our families, which then means that our families don't understand this entrepreneurship journey. And as a result, you don't have that support system, right? For far more often, they'll tell you, but what are you trying to do? There's no one who's doing this entrepreneurship thing in our family, maybe get a job, right? So you don't have that support system. And support system is critical in your journey as an entrepreneur. What then happens is you need to curate your own support system. You need to build your own support system, which then talks to, if you're going to have a resilient entrepreneur mindset, you need to have friends that are entrepreneurs. You need to read entrepreneurial books. You need to surround yourself with other entrepreneurs. And that will encourage you when the chips are down. So that's the mindset. It's critical that you have that. Maybe now you're fine. Maybe now you are motivated, you're inspired, and you don't have any problems. But the fact of the matter is, problems are gonna come. You're gonna have to make difficult decisions, especially if you are building an innovative enterprise where innovation by its very definition, it's a risky venture. and there's a high likelihood of failure in that space. So you are going to need very good support system, and you want to build that support system now before you need it, right? They say you build a well before you need the water. You don't wait for you to need the water and then you build a well, right? You build the well now and you make sure that there's water in that well in case you are going to go through dry season. You are then able to go to the well. It's the same with the entrepreneur mindset. You want to build yourself a community of like-minded where you can go to when the tough gets going. So what is entrepreneurship, right? There are so many definitions of entrepreneurship. Ultimately, what entrepreneurship is to enterprise, to undertake. You see a gap, you pull resources, you execute the resources, you make a profit. That's what this is about. At the outset is you need to take the initiative. Now, there are two types of enterprises. There are those small business enterprises. So here you are, I'm a chartered accountant, I run my practice, I employ 5 people, I focus in Pretoria, and that's it. I'm happy running my outfit in Pretoria, small local market, less risky. There are no aspirations to grow. You know what, this growing and whatever, it's too much for me. I just want to build a business around my lifestyle. I'm able to pay for my kids' school fees. I'm able to pay for rent. I'm able to pay for petrol. I'm happy. This is okay, right? The cash flow of the business will saturate at some time and it plateaus. It remains the same throughout the duration of the business. If that's the type of business you're building, great. Unfortunate part is, and maybe you don't care, some people don't care, unfortunate part about the small business enterprises, should something happen to you, that's the end of the business. Should you die or fall under a bus, that's the end of a business. There's no legacy, there's nothing. You're okay with this and you're not even trying to create jobs. You hear all this thing, it's just too much English for you. You are fine being a small business enterprise. And then there are those that are innovative-driven enterprises. Now, these ones, they're ambitious. They want to grow their businesses. They want to employ more people. They want to export. These are your typical Michels. They want to conquer the European market, the US market. They are thinking bigger. Now, here you go big or you go home. Michel decided, I'm going big, right? The risk is high, obviously, because you are entering into uncharted territories. You've never been to the US, you don't know the US market and all these kind of things. So there's a high risk of rejection, there's a high risk of failure, and you are bringing these innovative products, right? At the beginning, you go bankrupt. Michelle was talking about, she had 1,000 at some point, they had to go to bed without food and all those kind of things. So at the beginning, you start at a loss, but it's a hockey stick, right? So it's a hockey stick. At the beginning, you are doing a loss, but once the market catches, Malcolm Gladwell in his book, Tipping Point, he says you reach a point where this idea spreads like wildfire. And as it spreads like wildfire, then the sky is the limit. The revenue grows exponentially. In South Africa, we need more and more innovative-driven enterprises, because this is where we are going to solve our electricity issue, our water issue, food insecurity, and this is where we're going to create more jobs, right? When we go big, because when we go big, we're able to employ more people, but most importantly, we're able to increase our revenue and get a big market. So at the outset, you need to have that mindset that says, do I go SME or do I go innovation-driven enterprise? There's more support, there's more need and demand for innovation-driven enterprise. What is innovation? Innovation is, are you introducing something new, or are you improving on an existing system and are you making it far much better? And what's critical with innovation is don't just have the idea, but take that idea to market, commercialize it. A lot of people have ideas on this platform. So many of you have got ideas, your cousins, your friends, everybody's got ideas. The competition is not with the ideas. The competition is with the ability to convert that idea into a viable commercial business. That's what innovation is about. And it's times, and I define it as invention times commercialization. Because if you have the idea, and you have zero commercialization. In other words, you're unable to take this idea to market. You are unable to build this idea, right? Any idea multiplied by zero, as you would know, anything multiplied by zero is zero. So you need to be able to take this idea to market. And that's where the rubber hits the road. That's where the competition is at. People talk about, no, you stole my idea. That was my idea. In fact, what happened is they just implemented the idea. What's stopping you from implementing the idea, right? And that's where the competition is at. Implementation, not having great ideas. So there are people with average ideas, but they've managed to build great businesses. There are people with great ideas, but they've been unable to build businesses. So it's commercialization multiplied by invention. Ultimately, whether you've got an idea or you've got a great business plan, what's important is, do you have a customer who's willing to take money out of their wallet and pay? That's what makes a business, right? Is there someone who's able to take money out of their wallet and pay? If there's no one who's willing to do that, that idea is not a commercial idea. You can't take it to market and you can't make money out of it. Now, here's the difference. Another way to approach entrepreneurship is, are you a freelancer or are you an entrepreneur, right? A freelancer is somebody, is an SME, right? Somebody who's paid for their time. You decide you want to do more work, you make more money. You put in less hours, you make less money. You stay at home, nothing happens at the business, there's no money coming in. You don't have a boss. Absolutely, you're your own boss, but you have a job to do, because if you don't do the job, you don't invoice, you don't get paid. So work reflects pay. In other words, the more effort you put in, the more money you make, right? So that's a freelancer, and often your work will be highly customizable to your customers. But what's important is being an entrepreneur. Here you want to make money while you're still sleeping, right? Here you want to say, I'm going to Sun City, and the business will still run and generate revenue. Here you are able to say, I can focus on the long term of the business. I can go on a strategic workshop and leave the team behind, and the operations of the business will continue to run. Here you are able to say, let's grow this monster, let's replicate it, let's open other branches, let's franchise this thing out, and the business will be able to grow. Now, often people think they're entrepreneurs while actually they're freelancers, right? And there's nothing wrong, again, if you want to be a freelancer, great. But just also understand and appreciate the fact that when you get to retirement, if you're a freelancer, you can't retire if you have not saved enough. Also, Dumakas was talking about, all these savings options and people not being able to retire because they've not saved enough. If you're a freelancer and you have not saved enough, you can't retire. Forget about retirement, because what are you going to eat, right? And as a result, you find yourself 60 years old and still, being forced to work, not because of passion, but because if you don't work, you don't eat. So you don't want to find yourself in that trap. Or you can build an entrepreneurial organization. In other words, you can build a business that can run without you, and you can go sleep, you can retire at 40, and the business will still generate revenue, and you will work because it's a passion, not because you are forced to, but because, or you can even open a foundation and work on your passionate cause and donate or contribute to a worthy cause. And this is where people who start foundations come in, because you have managed to build a business that can sustain you for a very long time. Another way to look at entrepreneurship is what Robert Kiyosaki talks about, the cash flow quadrant. And here, what Robert Kiyosaki is saying is, you start on the top left. You're an employee, you work for an organization, you are paid for your time. So you are saying to your boss, listen, I have time, I have a skill, I'm going to give you time and my skill. At the end of the month, you give me a salary, right? It's fixed time and it's fixed salary. You want to make more money, you run a side hustle, right? And then you decide, you run a side hustle, you leave your job, you then start your side hustle, you become self-employed, or you're a freelancer. So you are now at the bottom left. So here you put more hours, more effort, more pay, right? Again, you put more time, you get more salary. or more income rather. And then you move to the top right, excuse me, where you are a business owner. Now, what you do here is you start employing people. So you are Michelle, you've got people that you're employing, and those people are making more money for the business because you are able to increase your productivity, you are able to increase your output, you're able to sell more, which means you're able to make more money. And then lastly, you become what we call an investor. Here, you invest in other branches, or you invest in franchising your business, and now those businesses have got they've got managers, supervisors, owners who are running those, and they're making money for you. Now, what you want is you want to move from the left side of the quadrant. You want to move from you putting money and you putting hours, time, and getting money out. You want to move to the right side of the quadrant where the business is making money for you. Ultimately, the reason we want to be entrepreneurs is we want the business to work for us. We don't want to work for the business. If you want to work, it should be optional. It should not be compulsory. So you want to move from the left of the quadrant to the right of the quadrant. In other words, you want to move from being an employee or self-employed where you are selling time, or you want to move to the right where you're a business owner, or where you're an investor, where you put in money and there's money coming out. So here you find that the money works for you. Another way to look at entrepreneurship is what Michael E. Gerber defines as the E-myth. And what he says here is quite interesting. He says it's a myth. It's not true that people who start businesses are entrepreneurs, right? It's not true that people who start businesses are not entrepreneurs. He basically says that the fatal assumption that we make is that a person who understands the technical work and starts a business, we want to define that person as an entrepreneur. He says that's not true. The person who understands the technical work, in other words, you know how to do hair, you know how to balance books, you're working for an organization, you decide I'm going to leave this organization, I'm going to start my own business. He says that person is not an entrepreneur, that person is a technician. In other words, that person knows how to do the technical work. They don't know how to run a business. They don't know costing and pricing. They don't know marketing. They don't know HR. They don't know how to cold call. They don't know all these other things. All they know is to do hair. And he says that person is a technician, is not an entrepreneur. And he says most businesses fail because they're ran by technicians that do the technical work of the business. Small business owners should also learn to be managers and entrepreneurs. They should learn how to build systems and processes in the business. They should learn how to do their costing and pricing. They need to know their break-even, but they should also learn how to market and sell their businesses or their products, right? And have a long-term vision. And what he says is, as a technician, you know how to do the technical work, but you also need to know how to manage the day-to-day operations of the business, but you also need to be a strategist. And most people who leave their jobs start with the technical skills, and they need to build the management skills. And you start your business, and as a startup, one-man show, you're working in the business, you are a freelancer, you are a small business enterprise. But the goal should be that you grow your business into an adolescent business, into a mature business. As it grows from being an infancy or a startup, it grows and becomes an adolescent business. You are slowly building systems and processes. You are slowly employing people. Slowly, you are moving from the left side of the quadrant, according to Robert Kiyosaki, and then you are moving into the right side. You are building a business that can run without you, and you become a fully fledged entrepreneur who's running a mature business. So it's a mindset. It's a whole question: are entrepreneurs born or made? Right? What's true is that successful entrepreneurs are made. Successful entrepreneurs are made through reading books, through mentors, through training, through sessions like this. Right? Successful ones are made. There are people who are born entrepreneurial, but it's not a therefore. it's not a guarantee that they'll become successful entrepreneurs. And this is where the book Talent is Not Enough comes in. Yes, you may be born an entrepreneur, but that does not make you a successful entrepreneur. To be a successful entrepreneur, you need to go through the process of making. And that process entails a whole host of things, one of it being what we are doing today. What is a mindset? A mindset is how you look at the world. It's the brain, it's the lens, it's the set, it's basically a group of things that you apply to look at the world. And a classic example would be you are trained as an architect. If you're trained as an architect, you look at the world from an architect point of view. When you enter into a room, you see structure, you see design, right? That's someone who's trained as an architect. In other words, what stands out for you the most, or first and foremost, is structure. If you're a psychologist, if you're a trained psychologist, you look at the world from a psychology point of view. So when you enter into the very same room that an architect went into, the first thing that comes to mind is the energy, left brain, right brain, what type of people are here. That's the first thing that a psychologist sees. If an artist, you see color. When you enter into a room, you see color. If you're an entrepreneur, when you enter into a room, you start doing the numbers. How many people are in here? How much are they paying? How much is the rent for this building? The facilitator, you start doing the numbers, and you're then able to say, maybe there's an opportunity here. Entrepreneurs see opportunities, right? When other people see problems, and there are lots of problems, entrepreneurs see opportunities. And I personally believe that entrepreneurs don't complain a lot. Entrepreneurs are the ones where there are challenges and problems. Instead of their way of complaining is to come up with a solution, right? And a classic story of Steve Jobs, he's at a party, reluctantly, his girlfriend says, let's go to a party. He doesn't want to go to a party. And he reluctantly decides, I'm going to the party. He gets to the party, there's this guy who's bragging, who's working from Microsoft, he's coming from Microsoft. He's bragging about this device that they are doing, which has got a stylus pen, and you pull out the stylus and you're able to write on this tablet thing, and that's how it works. Steve Jobs looks at that thing. He's not impressed, and he says to the guy, "But this is not how it should be done." And they start getting into an argument, and he says, "I'm going to show you how to do this." He leaves. They build a tablet, and he says that how a tablet should work is everybody has got a natural stylus pen. It's your finger, and that's how you should use your tablet. You will never lose your stylus, your natural stylus pen. In other words, you'll never lose your finger. It will never be broken, right? And that was his way of complaining. He saw a problem and he said, I'm going to come up with a solution, right? And this is who we are as entrepreneurs. You see a big market, you start asking yourself, where are the opportunities here? These people need to eat. These people need transport. These people need medication and all those kind of things. That's the entrepreneur mindset, right? When everybody complains, you see solutions. And often as entrepreneurs, we have growth mindset. We are then able to say, I'm an economist, I'm Michelle, I'm an economist. I know nothing about entrepreneurship, but you know what? I am going to adopt a growth mindset and not a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset will say, I'm bad at maths, I suck at entrepreneurship, this is not for me, and I can't do this thing. And you know what? You are right, you won't do it. Or you can have a growth mindset to say, you know what, I want to start this thing. I know zilch. I'm going to get a mentor. I'm going to go to YouTube. I'm going to watch all the videos on how to do these things. And I'm going to grow into that space. I'm going to make my mistakes, obviously, but I'm going to grow. And the mindset, whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you're working, the mindset is a muscle. You want to sustain your entrepreneur mindset, you constantly have to exercise it. And by exercising it, it means you need to read the books, read the financial news, follow what's happening in terms of trends, hang around other entrepreneurs. By so doing, you're strengthening your entrepreneur mindset. Can you lose it? Absolutely, right? Can you hate this entrepreneurship? Absolutely. There are people who have bent their fingers and they've lost everything. They've lost their possessions, their cars, their houses. They've lost their marriages. And they come back and they realize, actually, you know what, maybe I need to get a job and be like everybody else. You definitely can lose your mindset as an entrepreneur, right? Can somebody who's not an entrepreneur then become an entrepreneur? Yes, absolutely, right? When the entrepreneur bug hits, you start thinking entrepreneurially, you get attracted to opportunities, right? And that's what this is about. You want to be able to have that mindset, which says as an entrepreneur, you're going to work without supervision. There is no boss, nobody cares whether you wake up in the morning, you're on your own. You are truly on your own. No one cares, right? And no one is going to say, why are you at work late? They expect you to be at work late. If you're late, they expect you to be at work on time. If you're late, no one, chances are you are even the one who opens the office. So you need to be able to work without supervision. You need to be able to self-motivate, right? There are times or days where the chips will be down. How do you motivate? Guys, you need to be able to know where you go to when the chips are down, because the chips are going to be down at some point. You don't want to figure out where do I go when the chips are down. You need to figure that now. Other people go to the gym, other people go for a walk or a jog, other people watch motivational videos, other people go to church, whatever the case might be. You need to know what works for you. An entrepreneurial mindset is being able to make quick decisions. Procrastination is the thief of time. You cannot afford to be procrastinating. The lifetime of the opportunity is very short. The window of opportunity is very short. So you need to be able to make quick decisions. Handle stress, very stressful career. You need to be able to handle stress. Be open-minded, be flexible, be focused. Right? Don't do, there are people who today they're doing catering, tomorrow they're doing landscaping, 2 months later they are in mining, the other months they're in logistics, they're all over the show, they are not so sure where they want to do, and they justify that by saying, I'm diversifying my risk. You can't diversify your risk if you don't have the risk to diversify. You are a startup, you have not built a base. You're gonna have to be persistent. And this Michelle spoke about, you're gonna work hard. I've never worked so hard as an entrepreneur than when I was working for a corporate. You work on weekends, you work on holidays, you work extra hours, you're gonna put in the hours, you're gonna be resilient, take risks, and also be very patient. It's gonna take you some time for the business to break even, for the business to start generating that revenue. You're gonna have to be patient. It might take you a very long time. You're gonna have to be patient with yourself. Why is this important? It's important to have the right mindset, because your mindset informs your aptitude, right? Which informs your behavior. Your mindset, if you think like an entrepreneur, you start having an attitude of an entrepreneur. In other words, you start seeing opportunities when other people are seeing challenges, and your attitude that informs your behavior. Then you start doing things that entrepreneurs do. It becomes very difficult to think negatively and act positively. It becomes very difficult to think positively and act negatively. When you think like an entrepreneur, your attitude is opportunities, your behavior then becomes that of an entrepreneur, and it becomes a reinforcement. So that's why it's important that when you hang around other entrepreneurs, your entrepreneur mindset is strengthened, your attitude gets strengthened, and your behavior becomes that of an entrepreneur. You start hanging around people who are working as an entrepreneur. When COVID hits, they are getting a salary. Your business is affected by COVID, you're not getting a salary. What then happens? They start telling you, you see, I'm generating a revenue, I'm fine, you are stressing. There's an opportunity to work, please give me your CV. And what do? You give up easy. But when you hang around other entrepreneurs, when the going gets tough, you encourage each other, they become your support system, and you keep on going. So it's important to have the right mindset. How do you sustain that mindset? Get a mentor, right? This journey is very hard. One of the entrepreneurs that I'm mentoring, Fifi, she's managed to build a business over 50 million turnover a year. And she says she started her business 8 years later, she was making lots of money. And she says the road to success is very easy. Surround yourself with people who are ahead of you. Learn from them, don't make their mistakes, and you will succeed over time. Of course, it's easier said than done, but which means that you need to open yourself to learning from others. So you get a mentor, you call them. I talk to my mentor. We have 1 hour sessions, 50 minutes, 5-minute sessions, but I'm always opening myself to learning from him. Read books. Goes without saying, you're gonna have to read books. You learn from other entrepreneurs' mistakes. You can have a book club where, as ladies, once a month, you read one book, business book, and you discuss, you meet, and it's quite interesting what lessons you can pick from there. There are podcasts, entrepreneurial podcasts on your smartphone. Start listening to those as you're jogging, as you're in the gym. Start listening to those. Attend conferences, webinars like this one's critical. Sit in the room, lean against the wall, whatever. Be in the room. The discussions, there's energy, and energy is contagious. So you want to find yourself in that energy space that is going to encourage you. Social media, again, be smart about it, how you use it. Follow people who are going to enhance your entrepreneurial mindset. It's critical. Why is it important? Because in a day, you go through ever so many emotions. You're alone. Nobody understands your journey, right? You are excited one moment. You're second guessing yourself the other moment. You go through phases. You want to have a support system that will keep you going. 4 categories of people: those who make things happen, see things happen, wonder what happened, and there are those who don't know what happened. And know that the people in this room are people who are going to make things happen. If you are somebody who's going to make things happen, you are going to need a support system that is going to help you and propel you to make those things happen. Because the nature of the beast is that as you make things happen, there are challenges. You're gonna have nervous breakdowns. You're gonna lose things. You're gonna sometimes even want to lose your sanity. But you need, when those moments come, you want to be able to have a support system that will say, you're on the right track, keep going, see how far behind you have, how much progress you have made. Don't be too hard on yourself, right? I see you, I acknowledge what you're doing, it matters, keep on going. You want that support system, because there are those days where at a midnight hour, where it feels like maybe this is not working, the sheriff is chasing you to repossess the car, and you've been running away. We need to be realistic about entrepreneurship. It's not as this sugar-coated thing that people talk about. It's as if it's from A, B, C, D, and boom, you're a success. It's not as simple as that. There are hours where you are alone, you have to fire people, close the door, and cry your eyes dry because it's hard. The economy is tanking, everything is increasing, interest rates, petrol, everything is increasing, customers are holding back, sales are going down, profits are squeezed. You're gonna have to be real. This is not dreamy stuff. This thing is hard. You need a good support system. Build it now, part of these webinars and sessions, attend these things. It's important. It's a difference between a make it or a break it. So thank you. So it's important to have the right mindset. So at the outset, I did say, you start with the mindset and then the tools. So you need to have the right resilient mindset, but you also need to be working with the right tools. It doesn't help that you have this resilient mindset, but you're using the wrong tools. At some point, you're gonna get tired because you won't see the results. Why? Because you are using the wrong tools for business. Now, let's get into some of the tools, right? Firstly, the business model canvas, right? Here, you have an idea, you have a product, So how do you convert this product into a business? Because having a product is not a business, right? You need to be able to say, how does this service that I render look like as a fully fledged operational business? And most businesses fail not because they don't have a product, they fail because they don't have a sustainable, profitable business model, right? And this is where the challenge is for a lot of entrepreneurs. And this is where the stats are saying most 3 out of 5 businesses fail within the first 5 years. It's because brilliant ideas, brilliant product, but unable to build a profitable business because we don't have a sustainable business model. And what I love about the business model is it shows you the logic of how you're going to make money from an idea, from a product. How do you convert this idea, this product as a startup into a viable business, right? And what I love about it is it's a canvas, and you should have those. I think has shared those with you. It's a canvas, it's a one page. You are able to see everything about your business on a canvas, on that page. 9 building blocks. We're going to go through those 9 building blocks one at a time, all right? And I'm going to try and do justice to each one of them, but I also have to be mindful of the time, right? Building block number 1, customer segment. Other people start with value proposition. Other people start with customer segment. I prefer to start with customer segment. So on your canvas, on the extreme right of your canvas, right? In other words, on the extreme right of your canvas, customer segments. Why do I start with customer segments? It's because if you don't have customers, you don't have a business. It's as simple as that. No customers, all this thing that you're doing is a hobby. There's nothing wrong. You're killing time. It's not a business, right? I start with customer segment because the mistake that we make as entrepreneurs, I've made that mistake too. I've seen other entrepreneurs make that mistake too. We start with ourselves. We start with ourselves. I have this product. I know how to do hair. I've got this product. My job is to look for customers for this product. That's the wrong approach to entrepreneurship, right? We become with inward-looking, narcissistic approach. So we say it starts with you and your product. And we then say, my job as an entrepreneur is to go out there and look for customers. So we call it the push approach. Starts with me, I push sales to the customers. The right approach to entrepreneurship is, what do these people out there want? What do they need? My job is to go back based on what they say they want and need. My job is to go and produce or come up with a solution for what they need. So the second approach starts with the customer. Who is this customer? What are her hopes and dreams? What does she want? What is she trying to achieve? And with that understanding, you go back and you reverse engineer to the product. Then you build the product. You package the product, you price the product according to what the customer said they want, right? So for me, it starts with the customer. Who is this customer, right? Is it young people? Is it old people? How much does my target market earn? Where are they? Where are they based? Are they in rural areas? Are they in urban areas? What are they trying to achieve? Are they trying to solve a problem? What are their hopes and dreams? Are they on social media? Do they use social media? Where do they spend their money? When do they spend their money? Right? So you need to understand, you need to start with the customer, understand the customer, understand who he is, how much does this customer earn, understand where do they spend their money, where do they spend their time, right? With that understanding, then you are able to say, based on this customer persona, let me build a product for this person. Let me package, because he's a young person, so there's a chance that because he's a young person, whatever that I build, it needs to have color to it. Because he's a young person, he's a student, I can't price this at a high price because as a student, he's reliant on NSFAS. When does NSFAS pay them? At the first of every month. So in other words, they earn at the first of every month. They earn about 1,000 pocket money. As students, they spend most of their money on data, on clothes, on entertainment. So you need to understand, and therefore, based on that understanding, you are then able to say, my product needs to be packaged this way. It needs to be priced this way. It needs to be distributed this way. And that's how you build your product. You don't start with your product and push it to the customers. You start with understanding the customers and then reverse engineer to the product. Who are these people, right? Knowing who your customers are will help you know who your customers are not. Why is it important to know who your customers are not? is because you are going to get rejected. You want to make sure that people who are rejecting you are not your customers. Because sometimes we take it so personal that, my proposal has been rejected and all those things, while actually you're talking to the wrong people, right? And if you know who your customers are, you'll save a whole lot of trouble, whole lot of budget, whole lot of emotional investment, and you talk to the people who are likely to buy from you. Everyone is not your customer. There's no customer called everyone, right? So you need to find the niche. Who are they? Age group, geography, where are they? How much do they earn? Education levels, economic status, which LSM are they? Spending patterns, where do they spend their money? How do they spend their money? Understand the difference between the customer and the consumer. Who's paying, who's consuming, right? So you need to understand that, because once you understand that, then you build your product. Again, it can be individuals, it can be private sector. There is no private sector is my customer. There's different types of private sectors. There's NGOs, small size listed companies, agriculture, mining, ICT, financial service. There's different types. Be specific which private sector you're targeting. My customer is government. Who is government? There's different types of government. So be clear, and based on your understanding of the customer, then build the product, come up with the value, right? Then you are then able to say, what product do I offer them? Is it packaged, priced, distributed the way that they said they want, not the way I want, the way they said they want? What value are you offering? Why should they buy from you? Are you the cheapest? Are you using the fresh product ingredients? Why should they buy from you? And how are you positioning your business? Are you a USave or are you a ShopRite? Are you a USave or are you a Woolworths? You can't be everything to everybody, right? So you need to decide where you want to play this game. Are you higher LSM or are you lower LSM? So at the outset, work out where you want to be. Number 3, channels. Here, you know who your customers are, you know what product you're offering them. How do you distribute it to them? How do they get to access your product? Which channels? Do they come to you? Do you have an office? Do you have a shop? Do they come to you? Maybe you don't have a budget. Do you have an online store? Can they go online and buy online and you distribute to them? Or do you deliver? Can they place an order on WhatsApp or on app and they deliver? What channel are you using? Is it a physical? Is it a delivery mode? Or are we going to have this session online and you are at the comfort of your own space at home? So what channel are you using this, right? So you need to work it out. You need to be clear about it. Number 4, customer relationships, critical. We spend most of our time getting customers, but we spend very little time keeping our customers, right? So what strategies do you have in place to keep your customers? The little that you have, are you treating them as VIP? Why do you need to focus on keeping them? Because you make more money from your current customers than from your new customers. Because if you do a very good job with your current customers, they are going to spread the word and they're going to refer people, and you're going to get extra customers without even marketing to those new customers. So it's very important you have a database, a customer relationship database, where you send them SMSs on their birthdays, Mother's Days, Christmas. You incentivize them. If you bring a customer, I'll give you one product for free. You have those strategies. So you need to come up with those strategies where you incentivize your current existing customers to either bring more customers or to buy more from you. So you need to build that. Number 5, revenue streams. Have you exhausted your revenue streams? So sometimes rent it out, you're not using that space. Sometimes you have a nice wall outside. You can rent that wall for advertising. Over and above you selling your products, you can actually get other revenue streams for your business. Now, if you look at the business model canvas, from the middle of your canvas to the right is concerned with money coming into the business. So when somebody asks you, how do you make money, how are you going to make money from this business? What in essence they're asking you is, Who are your customers? What value are you providing them? How are you delivering it to them? How are you retaining them? And have you maximized your revenue, right? So the right side of your business model canvas is money coming into the business. The left side of your business model canvas is money going out of your business. Now, how does money go out of your business? Number six, key resources. You want to have the assets. What resources do you need? You need funding, you need machines, you might need licenses before you operate, you might need certain skills, you might need to bring people certain skills that you need to pay for them. So number six, what key resources do you need in order for this business to work? Make a list of those assets, get quotation, have a number that you can actually go and fundraise, right? You can go to the bank, ask for a loan. You can ask family, friends, and fools to invest in your business. You can have a stock file for business, where you have friends who are entrepreneurs, you contribute 1,000 every month. At the end of the year, you distribute the money, you buy assets. There are a whole lot of government funding agencies, NEF, NYDA, all this, you can approach them for funding. You can approach corporates through enterprise development funds to fund you, you get into the program, they assign a mentor. At the end of the program, you get funding, right? So there are so many ways to raise funding. You just need to work out what is it that you need in your business and then go fundraise. So is it physical resources, intellectual, human, or financial? So work out what assets or key resources do you need in your business. Number 7, key activities. Now that you have these assets or these resources, what are the things that you need to do step by step? Remember earlier on, we spoke about a true entrepreneur is somebody who builds a business that can run without you. How do you do that? Key activities. Write down what needs to happen step by step in your business. If you're running a manufacturing business, what's the first step when you manufacture? Second step, third step, fourth step. So you need to work those. Unfortunately, we run our businesses from our heads. So you know what's happening in the business, but it's all in here. The goal is you need to take it out of your head, to follow the process that you have written down, and they're able to come up with the same output. So document those process or those key activities. Write them down step by step. They need to follow a sequence. Have a training manual that you can use to train your staff, and then delegate, let go, and let them run the business in your absence. A number of reasons why entrepreneurs don't do this. 1, I don't trust that these guys will do what I say they will do. 2, I train them, they leave. 3, they can't be as good as me. 4, they steal my customers. 5, they steal my cash or my assets or whatever. So I can't trust them, I have to be there. The fact of the matter is, if you always have to be there, you become the bottleneck to the business. The business cannot run without you. And there's a chance that you're gonna fall sick, you're gonna be demotivated. And if you go through those cycles, then it means the business is also gonna go through those cycles. So you need key activities. Number 8, key partners. If it takes a village to raise a child, it takes a community to run a business. Who are those community members? Key partners, internal partners, your staff members, external partners, suppliers, delivery people, mall management, associations, WINOSA, and all those are your key partners. Build those relationships. Guys, business is about people. You need to like people. If you're gonna go into business, you need to like people. If you don't like people, do yourself a favor, maybe get a job, they put you in the back office, you don't meet anyone, you just work with gadgets and stamp the whole day. Business is about people. You need to enjoy working with people and building relationships. So work out who are your key partners. Critical also in your partners is your competitors can also be your partners. I deal with a lot of entrepreneurs who are running retail stores. 10 of them, they go to the wholesaler, they buy individually. It doesn't make sense because they don't want to partner. They see each other as competitors, they buy individually, they're unable to get huge discounts. Unlike if they were to partner together, club together and buy bread in bulk, and then they're able to get the discounts and they're able to transfer those discounts to their customers. They don't do that because they see each other as competitors and they're unable to partner with each other. So you need to have those strategic alliances, sometimes with your competitors. So work out who are those key partners, start building those relationships now. Right? And start seeing what benefits you can get from those. Number 9, cost structure. What are your costs every month to run this business? Salaries, rent, work out those costs that you need, right? So it becomes very important that you are able to have a total budget every month, right? And that's without the right side money coming in. So obviously, if the money going out is 7,000 every month, the money coming in needs to be more than 7,000 because you want to make a profit. This is your business, all of it in one page. You write this thing down, you print it in A3, you laminate it, you paste it on your wall. You are then able to see your business on a daily basis, how it should operate. You're able to see gaps, you're able to see areas of improvements, and then you grow from there. Don't leave the success of your business to luck, guys. Luck is not a business model. Prayer is not a business model. If you're going to pray on a strategy. You can't want to pray and there's nothing, right? You know, pray on a strategy, on a business model that you have. Don't leave the success of your business to luck, right? It's not going to happen. Third one, okay, we still have time. Third one, business finance. So here, it's a numbers game. Colleagues, please do me a favor, know your numbers. Know your numbers. I'm not going to teach you, I'm not trying to make you an accountant. You know, it takes people 3 years and articles and whatever to qualify as and say, that's not the goal. What I'm trying to say is there are certain numbers that you need to know that are critical in your business. And most critical for me, it's also the break-even point. And I'm going to try and spend some time there. But ultimately, what you want to do is you want to manage your costs and reduce your costs, and you want to increase your sales. Because as you reduce your costs and you increase your sales, your profit margins becomes very healthy. But also what's important is you need to know what your break-even is, right? Fixed costs, they don't change. Whether you produce 2, 3, 5, you have to pay rent. You must then want to have rent. Salaries, you said you're an entrepreneur, you're going to employ people, come month end, you have to pay them. Whether they've produced more or less, it doesn't matter. Insurance, you need to pay. It's fixed, it doesn't change. Variable costs, they obviously change according to if you produce more, you spend more. If you produce less, you spend less. So I'm not going to go through all this. What I want to do is I want to spend some time doing a practical exercise, if we can, on break-even. So I hope as I'm changing my screen quickly, you can see my screen. Now, I'm doing a practical exercise. So the mistake that entrepreneurs will make is they'll say, I have a product, the cost price of my product. I hope you can see the screen. Let me maximize this, right? So they'll say the cost price of my product is 5 Rand. I'm selling my product at 10 Rand. So selling price, 10 Rand, right? And I'm making a profit of 5 Rand. Simple, straightforward, no tricks, nothing, right? So you know, you have got a product, you are able to buy that product at 5 Rand, you sell it at 10 Rand, you make a profit of 5 Rand per product. And what I'm trying to demonstrate is there's a difference between a product profit and a business profit. And that's why it's important that you need to know your numbers so that you're able to make a distinction between a product profit and a business profit. Now, somebody says, oh, I found a cute place from China. I buy it 5 Rand, I sell it 10 Rand, I'm in business. No, you're not in business. You have a product profit. You don't have a business profit. But then they decide, okay, I'm going to start a business. I'm going to get space. I need to pay rent. And the rent is 1,000 every month. I'm going to employ 1 or 2 people. I'm paying a salaries of 2.5. I'm going to have to get somebody to do admin, I'm paying them 500. I'm marketing the business, I'm paying 1,000, right? So these are the operating expenses. Great, super. You are now building a business. So you're basically saying every month, these are my fixed costs, right? Every month, these are my fixed costs. And now I am converting this product into a business, right? Awesome, no problem. What then happens at the end of the month, right? So let's see the difference between a product profit and a business profit. Great. Now, you then say, okay, at the end of the month, I have to pay rent, 1,000. I have to pay these people that I've employed, 2.5. I have to pay admin. I have to pay marketing at the end of the month. Now, at the beginning, you are starting. You've got this one product, right? You are making a profit of 5 rand on that product. The goal is you want to be able to build a business from a product. You sell one product. What then happens? If you sell one product, it means your sales are 10 rand, which means your cost is 5 rand plus whatever that you manufactured, which means your profit is 5 rand. Now, you've got this gross profit of 5 rand. But at the end of the month, you need to pay 5,000. In other words, the business is making a loss of 4,900. Now, you then get to understand that there's a difference between product profit and business profit. The product is making a profit of 5 rand. The business is making a loss of 4,999. So you then say, okay, first week we sold 1 item, let's push. Second week we sell 50, right? We are still in a loss making, right? Let's sell 500. We are still making a loss. Let's sell 800 of these pens. We are still making a loss. 900, we are still making a loss. Let's sell 1,000, we break even. Now, a lot of entrepreneurs don't know this number. They don't know their break even. They run their business. They don't know that in order for me at the end of the month to be able to make budget, in other words, to be able to pay salaries, rent, I need to sell 1,000. They don't know their break even. They run their business without understanding the number that they need to chase. So they say in Africa, an impala has to, when it wakes up, it has to run. If it runs slow, it gets caught by the lion. If the lion runs slow, it dies of hunger. As an entrepreneur, at the beginning of the month, it's a race. It's a race to sell 1,000 of this. It's a pity because a lot of entrepreneurs don't know that number. So they don't know their cost structure. They don't know their break even. So you can actually even break this into weeks. So you can have, say, week 1, week 2, week 3, and then week 4. Then you are able to then say, okay, now at the beginning of, I'm going to break my target into weeks. So you say week 1, we sold 200. We are behind budget by 4,000. Week 2, we then say, guys, we need to up our socks. We sell 300. We are behind budget by 2.5. Week 3, we sell another 300. We are almost there. We are behind budget by week 3. Week 4, it's month end. We need to kill this so that we are able to make a profit and we are then, everybody is happy. You need to have those weekly targets. You can have weekly targets. You can have daily targets, whatever the case might be. Taxi drivers know this, right? They know every day, if I'm to make 800 for the boss, I need to make 5 trips, 2 in the morning, 1 during the day, 1 in the afternoon. If I do 6 trips, the 6th or 7th trip is my profit. They know this. Entrepreneurs need to know this. You need to know you need to be able to break down your targets on a weekly basis or a daily basis. It's really up to you, but you need to know your numbers. Entrepreneurship is a numbers game. So absolutely important that you know your numbers. So let's get back to the break even, right? So it's important that you understand because it gives you a microscopic view of your profit, but it also helps you to control costs. You know, you're able to predict your profit. Your profit should not come as a surprise. You need to know that you're not going to make budget a week, 2 weeks before month end. It shouldn't come as a surprise that, oh, you know, this month we made a profit, you know, it's a surprise, or we made a loss, we are all surprised. You need to know in advance if you are going to make profit or loss, so that you're able to put mitigation in between. Now, you know your costs, you've worked out your costs. What is your sales strategies? How do then you set your selling price? A lot of entrepreneurs, when you ask them, how did you come to this selling price? Most of them will tell you, I looked at my neighbor, I looked at my competitor, how much are they charging? And based on how much they are charging, I also copied. And then I charge slightly a little bit below them because I'm trying to be cheaper than them. Wrong strategy. You need to know what is your strategy. Are you a Woolworths or are you a USave, right? And there's nothing wrong with being a USave. USave is making lots of money. If you want to be a USave, you're playing a numbers game, by all means. There are those who want to be a Woolworths. There's nothing wrong with being a Woolworths. With being a Woolworths, you are playing a margins game. Less numbers, high margins. USave, lower margins, more numbers. So if you are playing a low strategy, in other words, you are playing price penetration, loss leader, short-term cash, or cost leadership. If you are playing a Woolworths high strategy, you are playing what we call price scheming, hello pricing, what you can get away with, and differentiation strategy. So let me quickly go through the different, let's start with the low strategy on the left. Low strategy, price penetration. You're a Netflix or an Uber, you find a way of keeping your costs low, and you are then able to, based on the savings, you are then able to transfer those savings to your customers. So you are playing what we call price penetration, or you're a loss leader. So a classic example would be Gillette. They make losses on their shaving stick, but they make more money on the razors. Or you buy a home printer. Home printers are cheap, but the cartridge is expensive. So basically what you're saying is, I'm willing to make a loss here, but I know I'm going to recover my profits because people have to come back more often. So you then have what we call loss leader. It can be a short-term cash. There's a match, there's Makufe, there's all these things. And you know that Makufe only lasts for 2 weeks or whatever, and you're gonna go and have prices for that short-term duration. Cost leadership, you basically say, I'm going to ShopRite, but I want to enter into the clothing space, and then you buy Mr. Price. And then Mr. Price becomes a cheap provider of clothes. On the extreme right, which is price scheming or high price, then you have what we call scheming. You are a Woolworths, you only sell exclusive things, Louis Vuitton bags, things that people, you don't want a lot of people to have. And how do you make sure that not everyone can have? You charge high prices. So you are playing in the exclusivity game, right? Hello pricing. You are Apple, you manage to build a strong brand with your computers. Anything else that you make is also going to benefit from the strong brand. In other words, because a MacBook was expensive, if you do iPhones, they're going to be expensive. iWatches are going to be expensive. So basically what you're saying is, I'm a luxury brand, and the success of my first brand, I'm going to use that success. If you have a Ferrari, for instance, Ferrari is an expensive car. If you're going to do Ferrari shirts, there's a guarantee that those Ferrari shirts are going to also be expensive. Or you can do what we call what you can get away with. So here somebody comes, I want this service, great. How much is your budget? And often when you ask a person how much is their budget, they'll always budget themselves way higher than what you are going to charge them, and you're able to get away with that. And there's a differentiating strategy where you are able to then say, my average products are this, but if you want exclusivity, VIP, you pay extra, right? So if you go to the movies, there's the normal movie, and there's a 3D movie, and then there's an IDX movie. The higher the exclusive they are, the more prices you pay, right? So try and know your numbers. Try and know what your
say.
Okay. All right. So I don't know if there's any comment. Okay. So whatever happens, don't find yourself today you're on the low price, tomorrow you're on the high price, right? There is no golden rule, but don't try and mix. Decide what strategy you're going to play and play in that strategy, right? Cash flow, critical here. If you are to maintain a healthy cash flow, buy low, sell high, collect early, pay late. Buy at a low price, right? Negotiate for discount. Don't take the first price. Negotiate for discount. Sell at a higher price. That will help you have healthy margins. Collect early from your customers. Sell cash, that's the golden rule. If you have to sell credit, collect early, encourage for them to pay you early. Try and negotiate for later payment with your suppliers, right? Without incurring interest or penalties. Ensure that your taxes are up to date. Always the golden rule is don't run out of cash. Keep your books, colleagues, very important. If you want to know your cost structure, the only way for you to know your cost structure every month is to keep your books. So that takes care of that. I have 30 minutes left, so let's do the last two, then let's have a discussion quickly. We spoke about the fact that entrepreneurship is about building a business that can run without you. How do you do that? You build systems and processes. What usually happens is when you start a business, you and the business are one. You do everything in the business. You are the business is you. You do sales, you do marketing, you do operations, you do cleaning, you are the tea person, you are everything, right? And because you don't have a budget to pay other people, so it makes sense that you do everything. So you and the business are one. If you fall sick, the business is sick. If you're on holiday, the business is on holiday because you are the business. You are a freelancer. You are self-employed, so to speak. Now, the goal is you can't go beyond 24 hours. You can't take X amount of orders because there's only one of you and you can only do so much. So the business can only grow up to so much where you are, right? You want to work on the business, not in the business. In other words, you want to separate yourself from the business. How do you do that? You start building systems and processes, right? And then you are then able to delegate those processes to people who are then going to work on those, and then you're able to let go. Now, the mistake that a lot of entrepreneurs say is, I don't have money to pay people. I can't do this exercise because I don't have money. I'll start doing this exercise later when the business grows. The problem with that is by the time the business starts to grow, you are busy, there's orders coming through thick and fast. You need to meet those orders within a short space of time, and you don't have time to do systems and processes. By the time you need those systems and processes, if you have not built them, you will not be able to deliver, right? So you want to move from working in the business to working on the business, right? How do you do that? Build systems and processes. Yes, you've got the equipment, you've got the technical know-how, you've got the machines. What you don't have is systems and processes. Write down, how do I receive orders? How do I prepare or process orders? How do I do deliveries? Write those things down. Don't just leave them in your head. Write them down step by step. And then once you have written down, as the business grows, right, as more orders are coming in, then you get people to join you. And as those people join you, you train them on what's already written down and you delegate, and then they start to fulfill those orders. What is a business? A business is three things. Is equipment, machinery, is systems and processes, it's a competent team. That's what makes a business. You have these three things, you can then go away on holiday and this thing will run. And then you can also copy and paste it, grow it, open one branch here, another branch. The formula is the same. You just copy and paste that formula in other provinces, in other parts. You reach more customers, you are able to increase your profits. So that's the move from working in the business to working on the business. How do you build those? What are those key systems that you need to build? Marketing, you need to have marketing systems and processes. Sales systems and processes. Ops, procurement, people, finances. You need to know this and be able to build it one at a time. Marketing, how do we build systems for marketing, systems for sales, systems for ops, for procurement, for people, and finances? Systems and processes are the engine of your business. This is your business. You can, if you have done a very good job of building this, you can then afford to take time away, and all that you do is do quality control and make sure that the engine runs smoothly. Write those things down. Activities, write them down. They need to go step by step in a sequence. You start with this, then you do this, then you do this, then you do this. At the end of running the processes, there's an outcome. There's 5 beggars, there's make feast beggars. You need to have an outcome at the end. You can use those systems to draft job descriptions. You can use those systems to do a training manual and train your staff. You can use those systems to say, if you follow this system, you need to be able to come up with 30 orders. If you come up with 30 orders, I can pay you a performance bonus, right? And once you have done that, first you write them down, then you can employ people. People follow systems. When people come into your organization, they need to find systems already there. So you build the system before you hire people. Building a machine, a system, then you hire people who are going to work on this. By the time you hire people, they should find systems already existing. Building systems first before people is important, because people come and go while systems remain in place, right? The quality of your output does not get compromised because your best employee has left, right? You don't, if I buy a chicken burger at McDonald's in Pretoria, it's the same at McDonald's in Nelspruit, it's the same at McDonald's in Limpopo. These 3 branches don't know each other, but how do they come up with the same product? Systems and processes, right? So it's important that you're able to document that. Once you have documented that, and once you have employed people, it's like a ship. Then you don't spend time in the engine room. You spend time in the bridge. You are then able to think strategically. How do we grow this business? How do we partner with other strategic alliances? How do we motivate, build the culture, and all those kind of things? You don't want to be spending most of your time in the engine room. Here it's dark, it's sweaty. You are unable to think strategically. You want to spend your time in the bridge where you are able to grow the business, right? The bridge is where you direct the business. Where you spend most of your time will be determined by how strong your systems are. When you spend most of your time in the engine room, you are creating a job for yourself. When you spend most of your time in the bridge, you are creating an asset of value. You can sell this thing, you can franchise it, you can open other branches. What are those systems? There's technology systems, there's various systems. You can have an accounting system, you can have a cash register system, you can have a project management, a QuickBooks. These systems are out there. So what you do is you write down the activities that needs to be followed, and then you then say, how can we use technology to digitize some of these processes? How can we use technology tools for us to order? How can we use technology tools for us to keep books? Instead of keeping books manually, you can have an accounting software. How do we have meetings? You don't need to necessarily have a journal or a book. You can have a project management tool where everyone is able to follow. You can put cameras in your shop. You can have your cash registers on your software where you can monitor your business anywhere in the world. Are these people working? Let me get into their cash book. Let me see how many sales they clocked in already, right? Let me see if they're working in the business. Let me see how many people have entered the business. All those are digital tools that can help you run this business in a smooth way. Now, lastly, very important, and this for me is one of the most important investment that you can make for your business. It's a critical investment. I get to see a lot of entrepreneurs who don't know how to pitch. It breaks my heart because they miss out on free money that's available. They miss out on prizes that they desperately need. This is an investment that you can do. It can take you a week, at the most 2 weeks of you working on your pitch. And once you get it right, you are then able to use that pitch for a very long time. What's important with pitching is you need to prepare. Don't try and get in there and say, I'll wing this thing, or I'll talk from the heart. There is no talking from the heart. When you get into a pitch, you need to know your pitch off by heart. So which means you need to sit down and work out what is the approach that you're going to adopt to pitch your business. What problem are you solving? You're not just selling products, you're solving a problem. What is that problem? Tell us about that problem. Once you have worked out the problem, the approach, structure your pitch. This is how you're going to start. This is how the body of your pitch is going to look like. This is how you're going to conclude. Write it down. Start, mid, conclusion. Right? It needs to flow. It needs to make sense. I need to be able to follow your pitch. Write your pitch down. Let it flow rather. So structure it. Don't be all over the show where, oh, before I forget, in conclusion, oh yes, and again in conclusion. That shows that you're all over the show. You're not prepared. We're unable to follow you. So structure your pitch, write it down, and then give it to someone else, a mentor or somebody that you trust. Let them give you feedback. Now, when you ask for feedback, and this is a life tip, when you ask for feedback, don't ask a person, does it make sense? Don't ask close-ended questions. Does it make sense? Yes or no? Do you like it? Yes or no? Don't ask those questions. Rather, when you ask for feedback, ask them by saying, if this was your pitch, how would you improve it? Right? By so doing, they take ownership. So they say, okay, if this was mine, okay, I own this thing. If I were to improve it, I would do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if it was mine. But if you say, give me feedback, they don't own it, it's yours. And if they love you, they don't want to hurt your feelings. They'll say, oh, it's nice, it's great, it's perfect. But if you say, if it was yours, what would you do? Then they go crazy. They say, I would improve on this, I would do this, I would do this, I would do that. Right? So when you ask for feedback on your pitch, ask them, what is your understanding of this pitch? Right? Let them explain to you their understanding. And if they were to improve on it, if it was their pitch, what would they do? And they'll give you feedback. I understand it this way. If I were to improve on it, I would do this, I would do that, right? So it becomes a back and forth. You are getting feedback. It becomes a back and forth until you are happy with what appears on paper. But because it's good on paper, it doesn't mean it's going to be good on delivery, right? So you then need to start practicing. Now you need to start practicing, memorizing, practicing your pitch. Practice tone, practice pace, practice the pitch, right? Is your voice high-pitched or low-pitched? Practice time. If they say your pitch is 5 minutes, let it be within 5 minutes. Because once you run out of time, they cut you off. Practice body language. Are you somebody who uses their hands and their finger pointing, or are you folding your arms, or are your arms in your pockets? Practice your body language. Don't move up and down all the time. It's destructive. So practice, right? Is your opening energetic? Does it grab attention? Does it make me look forward to your pitch, right? And what I always say to entrepreneurs is record yourself, right? Record your pitch, you do your pitch, listen to yourself and ask yourself, does this energize me? There's a chance that if it does not energize you, how in the hell is it going to energize anyone else? It's not going to energize anyone else. So it needs to energize you. So record yourself and ask yourself that question. Well, if it bores you, why do you want to subject us to a boring pitch, right? So practice, opening, grab attention. Your opening line needs to say to me, this is going to be good, right? Now that I've given you my attention at the beginning, how do you sustain that attention? Are you telling me a story? Are you using analogies, things that I can understand and relate to? Are you using humor? Are you making me laugh in the process? Are you teaching me something? Are you making me knowledgeable, right? So opening strong, energetic, right? And then tell me a story, teach me something, make me laugh. That's how you sustain my attention. You're closing it, wrap up your pitch, right? Strong call to action. Guys, with $500,000 of your investment, we can go and solve the problem of teenage pregnancy in my community. Finish strong, right? Don't crash land your pitch. I need to feel that you're concluding your pitch. So it's very important, right? And you have a pitch canvas, this is what you follow, right? There are all these blocks, pretty much like a business model canvas. There are all these blocks. This is your pitch. This is going to help you to structure your pitch, right? So you start at the beginning, you go through those blocks until you get to end of statement call to action, right? And that's, you need to be able to go through all this in 5 minutes, in 3 minutes, you need to be able to go through this. Now let's go through the first one. You start with the opening statement. Like I said, it needs to be memorable, it needs to grab attention, it needs to be energetic, it needs to make me look forward to your pitch. So we work with TED speakers, TEDx, TED speakers. So we work with TED speakers. TED Talks are 15 minutes, 18 minutes on average. Here's this guy, we're working with this guy, we're curating his talk. He wrote his talk down, we gave him feedback, he memorized his talk, he comes on stage, we introduce him, he gets on stage, he keeps quiet. He says, by the time I'm done with this talk, 53 people would have died, right? We all like, what, right? We're like, 53 people would have died, why? What would have happened to them? That's how you start the talk. He's got our attention, right? He's like, okay, we are asking ourselves questions. Then he gets into his talk. I work as a paramedic in the emergency services, blah, 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 blah. Then he sustains our attention. You want to start your pitch with something that will make me stop doing what I'm doing and I listen to you. You need to know this. This is what. Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Tell me more. That's how you start your pitch. It needs to be something that grabs our attention. Then tell us what the problem that you're solving. What is this problem that you're solving? Most importantly, how big is this problem, right? How big is it? Have you validated other stats? According to, let's say, according to this latest reports, according to World Health Organization, the report of 2002, the stats are saying blah, 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 blah. You want us to tell us what the problem you're solving. Most importantly, how big is this problem? And tell us, if you say high unemployment, what is high unemployment, right? Tell us 49% or 39% youth unemployment. Give us the stats, right? 3 in 5 or whatever. Give us the numbers. Give us the source of those numbers. Don't make up the numbers. Give us the source of the numbers. So tell us what pain you're solving. Then what's the solution? What's the product? Here, I have no doubt you all know what your product is. You all know what your solution is. The trick with this one is don't get carried away, because people get carried away when they come to this part. You want to spend the whole 5 minutes telling us about the product. Tell us what the product is. How does it work? Is it approved? Whatever, and then move on. Don't get carried away. It's very easy to get carried away here. So strong opening statement. What problem you're solving? How big is it? Validate it, the sources. Then tell us what's your solution to this problem, right? Do you have a product demo? Do you have a prototype? We managed to build this. Show pitches that have a prototype are stronger than pitches that are just words. So show us something. Yeah, we managed to build this. Here's a prototype. We are able to see it, we're able to touch it, we're able to feel it. Pitches that have a demo. If you're having a video, you want to show us a video, but the rule of thumb with videos are less than 1 minute. Don't play a video that's more than 1 minute. You have 5 minutes, right? If you're gonna play a video, less than 1 minute. If you're gonna play a video, if you can, no sound, right? Because you don't want the extra stress of now you need to play the video, you need to ensure the sound is audible and all these kind of things. You don't have time for that. It's too much work. If there's a product demo, you want to play it, let it play. Again, if it's something, it's a video that's on the internet, download it. You don't have time to be asking for Wi-Fi passcodes when you get in there. The Wi-Fi might be down, whatever. Download it, it needs to play offline, right? So product demo, critical. If you have it, bring it. If you don't, show us pictures. Pictures are worth 1,000 words. Show us pictures, nice pictures, quality, printed, laminate those pictures, right? If there's more than one,
1,000.
Right? So if you have pictures, nice quality, color, printed out, laminated, if you have more than one, you want to show us 3 or 4, at the most 4, staple them together, and then staple them in the order that you want us to see. Here's my restaurant. Here's the first picture outside the restaurant. You flip through the second picture inside the restaurant. We get to see the couches and the layout. The third picture, here's the food that we prepare. Maybe the fourth picture, here are the patrons, the customers enjoying the food. So it's in that order that you want us to see, right? Staple it, and then we are able to go. Don't come with 5 pages there. You are panicking. They fall over the show. You pick them up. They're no longer in the same order that you wanted. It's a mess, right? Show us something. Pitches that have got a demo are stronger. What makes you unique? What makes you different, right? Don't be shy to say in the market, there's this competitor, there's 2 people, they are doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where I come in, I do this, which is different to what they do. So don't be shy to mention who's in the market. What that does for us as judges, it says to us, you have done your research, you know who's out there, and you know what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are. And this is what makes you unique in relation to them. Customer traction, this is free marks, colleagues, free marks. Here, you have sold something, you have sold this pens. Tell us, how many of these products have you sold? Tell us if you have won a major competition, if you have received some awards. This builds credibility, right? If you have had a PR coverage, whatever the case might be, it says to us that other people think this thing works, and thereby, if you can even show us their references, this is what they say about your product or something. This shows us how far you are in terms of gaining market share. Business model, how are you going to make money from this thing? How are you going to get paid? Is it an online thing? Is it a physical delivery thing? Also very important, how are you growing? How are you going to grow the market? Are you going to open other branches? Are you going to be like Michelle, where you're going to explore the USA market? How big can this grow? And what are the strategies to grow it? Maybe you don't want to open other branches. You want to open an online store. That way we can reach the international market. Tell us, right? Most importantly, investment. Here, how much do you want? How much do you want, right? But most importantly, how much have you raised of your own money? How much have you invested of your own money, right? You may have invested something in there. Tell us. It shows commitment. It says you are so serious about this thing that you have even invested your own money. How much do you want? Don't guess, don't thumb suck. I think I'll want 500,000. You need to be exact. I need 500,000. I'm going to buy 300,000. I'm going to spend on this. 200,000. I'm going to spend on this. 100,000. I'm going to spend on this. All in all, I need 500,000 of your own money. What type of investors are you looking for? Are you looking for silent investors? Are you looking for people who are going to bring their contacts? Are you going to need people who are going to bring their expertise and mentor you? What type of an investor are you looking for? Also, milestones. At the moment, I'm doing 10 orders, but with your investment, I can do 20, 30, or 40 orders. At the moment, I'm employing one person. With your investment, I can employ 10 people. So give us those. How is this investment going to impact your business? Here, also very important, research the type of organization that you are pitching at or the type of funders that you're pitching at. Understand what's critical to them. If you're going to pitch at the Innovation Hub, you need to show innovation. If you're going to pitch at NEF or NEF, any government agency, their biggest mandate is job creation. So as part of you asking their money, you need to demonstrate with your investment, we can create 5, 10, or 15 jobs. That way you are able to appeal to the investors' priority list. Right, so important, do your homework here. If you can get quotation, bring those quotations, right? But don't thumbs up, don't guess the type of investment that you're looking for. Team, here, tell us who you are, what's your experience, who do you work with, what is their experience, what is their qualifications, right? So if you've got a team at the moment, tell us who your exco, your high-level team is. Myself, I'm a project manager, I'm a qualified CA, I've got this type of experience. I'm working with Mpo. Mpo is got a diploma in sales. She's our business development. Katleho is an accountant. She does our numbers. So give us that, right? Combined, all of us, we have over 20 years experience, right? And we have worked on these major brands, bring those through. And statement with remind us what this is about, right? In conclusion, I'm asking for 500,000 of your own money so that we can go and save the lives of teenagers in my community. So end strong. If there's time, why are you doing this? I'm doing this because my nephew or my niece or whoever died at a young age because of this. I'm doing this because my mother died from cancer, and I want to use this business as a cause to educate people on cancer, for instance. So if show us some emotional investment into why you're doing this. Write your pitch on your pitch canvas, give it to someone else, they give you feedback. Once they've given you feedback, close the gaps on the canvas and then start practicing your pitch. Practice body language, right? Don't move too much. Make eye contact with your audience. Practice your hand use, right? Don't finger point. Don't move your hands quite a lot. Don't point your fingers. Align your body to your words. So if you say, I was excited, it needs to come out. Your body language needs to say that you're excited, right? If you say, I was disappointed, you need to align your body language to your words. Don't put your hands in your pocket. Don't fold your arms. It makes you look animal. So as you practice in front of the mirror, practice your body language. You know yourself, you pace up and down when you're nervous. 5 minutes, that 5 minutes, don't move up and down, right? Practice your voice. Some people are soft-spoken, some people are not. Align your voice. Don't talk too fast, don't talk too slow. Now, as you practice, don't try and lump too much information into a too little time and start saying, I'm going to talk fast so that I can cover everything. It doesn't work that way. Try and make sure that your pitch is well paced. Be excited. It's energy. We are going to pick it up that you're excited. So your voice is going to tell us that you're excited, but also be a polite person. We need to know that we can work with you. So be a polite person. Dress code, very important. If you know that you're not a high heel person, stay away from high heels, right? If you know that you're somebody who's comfortable in certain type of clothes, please, it's important that you're comfortable, right? If you rock high heels because it's your thing, by all means, right? But don't wear things that are going to distract attention because you are uncomfortable in front. Jewelry, sometimes it can be destructive. If it's too much, then the sounds and shiny things. So if you're gonna wear jewelry, just make sure that it's not destructive, right? So the goal is to ensure that you're comfortable. The goal is to ensure that you are less destructive. Now you are done pitching. Thank you. You said to your judges, thank you for listening to my pitch. They ask you questions. Listen to the questions very carefully, right? Don't lie. Don't ask something that they didn't ask you. Answer the questions directly. If you don't understand the question, say, I don't understand. Please rephrase. If you don't know the answer, say, I don't know the answer. Don't lie. Don't make it up. We are going to see that you're making up an answer. But if you don't know, you don't know. If maybe the judge says what you disputes what you're saying, don't get into an argument with the judge, right? Thank you so much for that question. I don't know the answer, I'll find out. Oh, is it how you guys do it? We do it this way. I'll find out. I didn't know that you can do it that way. Don't get into arguments. It becomes ugly. It turns everybody off. Nobody wants to work with somebody who is very argumentative. So be polite even when you are under pressure. Slides, please, if you can, don't come up with 30 slides. Come up with few slides, pictures on your slides. If you are pitching, more pictures, less words, no paragraphs. Please, colleagues, avoid paragraphs. And the cardinal sin you do, you put paragraphs there and you read word for word, sentence for sentence. Please avoid that. Pictures, full on pictures on your slides, right? Full on pictures, if you can, bullet points, it's points. That's why it's called PowerPoints. It's powerful points, not powerful paragraphs, right? Points, right? Pictures, if you can. If you can, full on pictures. If you don't have full on pictures, you have small pictures on your slides and you feel it's important that you have that picture on this. Don't take that small picture, put it on a slide and then start stretching it and so that it can have a full on. By the time it's full on, it lost its pixels. You can leave that picture small, make the background black. Anything on black stands out, right? So very important, print out your slides if you need to. We live in South Africa, we have this innovation called load shedding. So make sure that you print out your slides, do spell check. Demos, we have spoken about that. And then practice your pitch. Practice with the clothes that you'll be wearing on the day. Practice, time yourself. Practice if you have slides, practice with your slides. Practice, 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 practice. The only time you stop practicing is when you are done with your pitch and you're getting off stage. Thank you so much. I don't know if there's any questions or comments. Questions, comments?
All right, so we've got a question from Musima. By the way, Raj, thank you so much for that. I did mention at the beginning of the session that, if anyone has spent time in any one of your workshops, they leave charged up, challenged, inspired, and equipped. And that's precisely what you've delivered once again. So we'll take a few questions from the floor.
Thank you.
There was someone before Zanele. Okay, Zanele, maybe you come in. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. Thank you very much for the very shaky call. I just wanted to say to the doctor, I think you caught me at a very good time. I don't know what I'm doing, but I call myself an entrepreneur because that's where I'm going. So today for me, this is just a comment to say thank you for laying it out thoroughly to us of the things that we are really missing. And honestly, it's things that I took very small, but now I can see if I continue to take them for granted, I might not see XJ going anywhere. Also, the preparations, you did due diligence in making sure that we get the proper picture of how important it is to have everything written down. When you said to us that we need to write things down, yes, we can see it in our heads. We can see us being big, but if it's not written, we're not going anywhere. So for me, as a person of words and writing, I just felt goosebumps and so thought you actually are giving me a wake-up call. But this is to say thank you for your time. Thank you for bringing us to light as to there is more to the word entrepreneurship. There's more work to be done. There's more resilience that's needed. There's more brain that's needed. And also, I think it's very important also that you said to us, we are able to do everything, but we shouldn't make ourselves want to do everything. At some point, we need to have people that are going to be doing things for us, despite the fact that we're enticed by being in a boat one day and having the business run, but to be able to also empower other people, that's very important. And thank you very much, sir. This has been very, very eye-opening. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Zanele. I'm glad
Thank
it was helpful.
Thank you so much, Zanele. Insightful indeed. So just before we move on to TD, on the chat box, there are a few requests for the link, etc. Ladies, the link was shared. I think the first was shared on Wednesday or Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. And the other you would have received on the email that was sent early this morning. So maybe you might want to make reference to those emails. Okay, TD?
Thank you so much. Doctor, like the first thing I want to say is wow, 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 wow.
Thank you.
I'm about to fall off my chair just looking at just how much work I really need to go back and start all over again. I realized that you mentioned a lot, or your presentation had a lot to do with selling products or marketing products and all of that. I just wanted to know if you think it would be a different road to take if somebody was in a business with supplying something that's less tangible, like a service rather than a product. Is there any major big differences that a person should be looking into?
So thanks for that question. You know, there's a concept we called productize your service. So even with service, the same principles apply. I mean, as a CA, you're running your practice. You need to have, systems and processes that says, if we get a new client, here's the list that we need to follow. Here's the forms they need to complete. Let's do the scoping of the work. Let's have a meeting, first meeting, second meeting, sign the contract, agree on the rates, So there has to be that process that you follow. It needs to be written down. It needs to be easy to follow. It's something that even if this person leaves and there's a new person who comes in, they need to be able to follow that. So it works. It's easier with a product because it's something that's tangible, but also with a service, you need to be able to. I mean, when I was at Deloitte, that's pretty much everything was written down, and we followed that. So if I should forsake and I can't come to work for whatever reason for a prolonged period of time, and somebody has to take over from my work, they need to be able to see where am I in this process and what needs to happen. And it needs to be easy. That's why documentation is important. It needs to be easy to follow. I need to be able to keep track of where I am in the project, so that if I can't be there, the show has to go on even in my absence, and someone will be able to come through and do it. So yes, absolutely, it's as relevant with physical products as also with services. Of course, with services, people add their signature, but what's important is the output needs to be the same. That's critical. Whether there's John Mpotepo, the output needs to be the same. Whether you're a doctor, you're running a pharmacy, or a surgery, you employ other doctors, the process of how we record patients at reception, how we do triage when they come in, the process of how we diagnose them, we need to follow that process. And based on the output, we need to prescribe this, the script and whatever. It needs to be like a machine, so to speak.
Got you. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you. I don't know if Mulukwe, sorry.
Sorry, so thanks for that. We will take two other questions, one from Nelly Siwe, Nelly Sile, excuse me, Nelly Sile, and then another from Anlin. Thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. To Wenosa, thank you very much. Dr. Rosh,
Okay.
I'm a mental health practitioner. Never did, and this is just as honest as it is, never did a business workshop. I just did what I know. And today I am thinking, my goodness, the business side of it, I have learned so much. This being selfish with my time and not seeing more than 2 people a day, it's not working. Break even, new word for me that makes so much sense.
Yes.
So
Yes.
thank you so much. I think this today and tomorrow after church is going to be a lot of let's restructure from May. I am going to be a better businesswoman and not just actually a freelancer who thinks it's a hobby in between. Oh my goodness, last week of the month, the rent needs to be paid. So thank you so very much. Everything was so concise. I have actually understood everything. And I always say, I don't understand anything about business, but how to spend money. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Nelly Sile.
Thanks, Nelly. Anlin?
Thank you so much. And thank you so much to Renosa and the good doctor. I just wanted to ask, would you perhaps recommend, I think I'm speaking for myself here, but a lot of us in our industries, we haven't necessarily been capacitated in terms of business because we come out of universities and colleges and we're just practitioners. We know how to do the work. And then the business side of it, would you recommend that? So I'm in the services industry. I'm an archaeologist, and besides the mentorship, would you recommend that an undertaking in business school or outside of formal business structures would assist in ensuring that the business gets capacitated, number one, and then number two, how do we find the individuals that will capacitate us? Because you want to take your business from its startup or its initiation, and then you want to be able to get to a point where you're scaling, and then you become investor ready. That business model you spoke of. These terms are things that I think we hear a lot, but we're not too sure when we have to implement what that should look like. And I think maybe if you can maybe just outline that, if it would be a worthwhile investment to do an undertaking like that. Thanks, Doctor.
Thank you so much. I think if you want to be an entrepreneur, ultimately what you want to do is you need to have a mentor. And I think I always encourage that. A mentor is critical, especially somebody who is ahead. And so the question that I often get when I say get a mentor who's ahead is, but these guys don't have time, but these guys, they feel threatened. They don't want to mentor up and coming entrepreneurs because they feel you're going to take over their industry and compete with them. What I found is that there's quite a lot of people, even if they're not from local around here, but there's quite a lot of people who are willing to share their expertise. I'll give you an example. There was this other retired, he's a white guy, he's a retired engineer, and he just retired, and he says, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm used to being busy, being out there. I've made money, so financially I'm sorted, but I don't want to idle. I don't want to sit and do nothing. So what they can do is they can then, pay it forward, so they can mentor other entrepreneurs in the engineering space. So they have the time, they have the expertise. they've secured the bag, so to speak. So they are out there looking for people to mentor. So there are those type of individuals. It's just a question of a lot of people don't. So those who are looking for mentors don't know where to get the mentors. Those who are mentors don't know where to get the mentees. So there is that gap. So organizations like, for instance, like WINOSA, Innovation Hub, and all these things, because they are a platform where all these people gather together, they're able to then say, meet this person, he's an expert in this area. Here is Winnie or whoever is doing an amazing thing. Michelle is doing an amazing thing. Michelle, can you mentor a couple of people? And Michelle will say, yeah, absolutely, why not? So I think mentorship is critical. Do you want to do an MBA? I wouldn't say no, don't do an MBA, but what I can caution though is often your academic business programs are designed for people who are in corporate. I mean, I did an MBA, and it helped me, but I realized that it was more designed to grow what's already there. It was not designed to help me start what's not there. So when you decide to do academic programs, just always have that at the back of your mind. You're going to be lectured by people who are not entrepreneurs. People who've got the head knowledge, but they don't have the hands experience. So just always have that at the back of your mind, that you're going to meet or be lectured by people who have studied this thing, but more often than not, and I'm being frank, more often than not have not practiced. They've not built a business before. But they will give you the tools, which is important. And that's where your mentor comes in, because your mentor will give you the practical experience. Your mentor will be able to say, yeah, in paper, that's how it works. But in practice, this is how it works, So there are institutions, there are local institutions, mentoring institutions, there are actually global institutions that have people globally, that organizations of retired executives who travel all over the world looking for people to mentor and assist. The fee structure, there's a model that they have worked out. You don't have to pay much, or you just pay a minimum. So, but also reading books, I find that, sometimes also reading books, listening to podcasts is mentorship also. You learn quite a lot from other entrepreneurs through learning, through listening to their podcasts or reading their blogs or things like that. So there is no one surefire way. There's multiple ways. You just need to look at what really works for you. I hope I've answered.
Of course, and we've gone above and beyond. Thank you. Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And finally, the last question from Akoliwe.
Okay. Hello, Doctor. It's Akoliwe here. I think we actually, my business and yours will probably be quite similar. I've been listening and I've been trying to understand. I think so my colleague here is Linda, and we're still kind of starting out and figuring things out. So I have an idea to do financial advisory, which is, I think, quite similar to what you are doing. So I hear a lot of titles: Doctor, CA, MBA. You've studied the book back and front. I hear Deloitte. I hear it all. Hey, you've got everything. So I've also done quite a lot of industry experience. I don't have all the titles. I've also found quite similar to what you're saying in terms of the books, they give you all the experience. But when you go in industry, you find the theoretical knowledge is not necessarily applicable. And then you find all the people here, they're blown away. Your break even, I don't even understand this, but they know how to make money. So they really need us. So I want to understand, so they want to go to the big corporates. They want the financial advice, but they don't trust us. how do you get those guys to trust you? How do you get them to give you the business? Because when they go to those guys, they think those guys know it all. But in actual fact, you're the guy sitting at the back doing the work. So how do you get them to trust you, to give you the business?
Whew, that's a difficult question. I mean, it's like, how do you trust a person? Yeah, that's a mammoth. Look, I think trust is becoming a big thing now. It's a big challenge. So what I usually advise entrepreneurs is, start with, you're gonna have to prove yourself, and you're gonna have to start with the smaller clients. And that's how I started my practice. I started my practice with the smaller clients, who could not afford the big guys. And I built a profile with the smaller clients. I did a very good job. I looked after them, and then it becomes a snowball as you do a very good job with small clients, and you are able to tailor make your solutions towards them, and you give it time. Over time they will, as they grow, because you see, a lot of things happened when I was Deloitte, but one of the things that I learned that I appreciated is there was an issue. I was doing tax for SAB. There was an issue with the invoice, and SAB was not happy with a certain element. So it came out to that they felt it's out of scope, what. And then we needed to write off $500,000 of the invoice. But then what happens in the dispute, the audit partner comes and talks to my boss to say, look, can you please write this off, because we have been auditing SAB as Deloitte for 100 years. And I said, I'm like, 100 years, how? And then I had to rewind and say, where was Deloitte 100 years ago? Where was SAB 100 years ago? And then it then said, chances are Deloitte was a startup 100 years ago. Chances are SAB was a startup 100 years ago. So they managed to build this relationship as startups, both of them, and they were able to hold each other. As SAB was growing, then they required more services from Deloitte, which meant that Deloitte also had to grow. Often we have this obsession with big clients. Big clients messes us up. They, we need to be careful because we need to play the game in their rules. But small clients, you are able to negotiate with them. So I would say start with small clients, do a very good job with those who are not making millions and millions. And then as those small clients grow, because you have built that relationships with them, as they grow, who are they going to use? They're going to use you because you know them far much better than anyone else. You saw them when they were still starting up. And as they are growing, you grow with them. And I think it's a Deloitte and an SAB situation. 100 years later, they are still building that, they still have that relationship going strong. So for me, that's how you build trust. There is no shortcut to building trust where you just short circuit yourself to these big guys and whatever, right? That tends to be a bit superficial, but you want to start with the small guys and grow with them. And hence in the business model canvas, there was where I was talking about customer relationships. You start with them, you build those relationships, you look after them, small as they are. And as they grow with you. And that's how you become a big outfit. You don't short circuit yourself to, I need these big clients, and therefore I'll be big. No, you start with the small clients, you look after them. As they become big with you. I hope I've answered.
Okay. Yeah, no, I understand. Okay. Yeah, no.
So it's a patience thing.
Let's go for the small ones. Yeah, our focus
is a patience thing. Yeah, trust me, I've made that mistake. For me to stop practicing is when I got this big client and I felt these small guys are wasting my time. I have this big fees, lots of money. I left the small guys. The big guy messed me up. It messed me up. They paid me after 8 months. What? I went bankrupt. I couldn't even go back to the small guys because they looked at other people who will take them serious. What I've learned from that experience is the small clients keep you in business, right? They won't make you a millionaire. They'll pay for the rent, they'll pay for the petrol, they'll pay for the salaries. You'll break even with the small clients. The big clients will be the ones that makes you a millionaire. But the thing is, if you don't have the small clients, you can't pay for those small things that you need in the business. And if you can't pay for those small things, you're not in business. And therefore you can't even get to the big guys. So look after the small guys, they'll keep you in business. The big guys will make you a millionaire. The small guys will keep you in business. You need to be in business to play the game.
Yeah, no, we're definitely focusing on the SMEs, which is what I introduced ourselves. Yeah, definitely. And I hope you guys trust us enough.
No, the small guys, they can't afford the big guys. They can afford, you know. Michelle, maybe when she started, she couldn't afford the big, she could afford you. Fast forward today, Michelle is a big thing. Because you have built that relationship with Michelle from day one, she's going to use you. And which means that as she grows, you grow as well.
Yeah, no, we definitely. And I think you're a brilliant mentor. So I'll come knocking at your door every single time. I'm going to come begging.
Awesome.
Thank you so
All the
much.
best.
This
Thank
has
you
been
so much.
brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Akoliwe. So that's all the questions we have now. Rosh, once again, on behalf of the Women's Empowerment Network of South Africa, we truly, truly want to thank you for always making time to equip our female entrepreneurs. And someone asked a question earlier to say, are we going to have a next workshop? Thankfully, we have or have an agreement in place with Dr. Rosh. So he will be joining us in the next workshop as well. A date for that will be communicated in due time. So thank you once again. What we'll also do, Dr. Rosh, is just after the meeting with our follow-up communication, we'll just make sure that all the participants have your contact details.
Thank you so much, Malako, and keep up the amazing work. And I wish all the entrepreneurs all the best. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Dr. Rosh. All right, sure, yeah, that was quite an insightful, very valuable presentation. We are running over time, I think by 27 minutes now, so apologies on our end for that. What we're going to do now is briefly, very briefly, get into just an overview in terms of the criterion. This is with the pitching challenge, so specifically for any of the entrepreneurs who might want to, enter the pitch. So I will ask Johanna to then take the stage and just share that overview. Thereafter, we close. So if you can just give us just a few minutes, thank you.
High level. Oh, thank you for that. So guys, my name is Johanna Rachidi and I'm a member of WENOSA. So today I've just been tasked to give more information about the pitching challenge. So I'm sharing my screen now and we'll just quickly go through the criteria that we will be looking for. So the first one really is we'll be looking at for commercial viability. So the business case being presented must have some sort of commercial viability. The second criteria that we look at obviously is the legal compliance. So really, does the business abide by all applicable laws and rules? This will be your CIPC and your SARS. The third one obviously would be women in leadership. So women must actively participate in management and board positions. The fourth one would be around ownership. So 100% of the ownership or interest must be held by women. The fifth one is around job creation. So the company must have prospects of creating sufficient quantity of jobs. The sixth is the South African operations. So here we talk about the majority of the operations must be within South Africa. The eighth one is participation in the workshop. So really only individuals that attended today's session can participate in the PIT challenge. The ninth criteria that we would look at would be obviously the residency citizenship. So only individuals that have permanent resident or are citizens of South Africa can apply. And then obviously the last one would be the age range. So the applicant must be between the ages of 20 and 45. So what you need to understand is that this documentation will be sent via email. So you will have access to this specific documentation, and then you can just look at the business rubric here, the criteria rubric here. This will also guide you in terms of what you need to submit in your business case. But what's important that I want to highlight is that when you're making your submission, please make sure you attach these documentation. So this would be your company registration documentation, your tax clearance certificate, your certified ID copy, company profile, and obviously the business case. And then all this should be emailed at info@wenosa.org. We do have a deadline. So the deadline will be on the 28th of April, 2013. And then obviously the businesses that advance to the final round will be contacted by phone and will be emailed. So I really encourage business owners to please submit an application. You just never know. You could walk away with that 25,000. And also I was just reading the other day, it says that this is according to the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor report. So it says that South Africa has one of the highest rates of female entrepreneurs in the world, right? And it further goes on to say that nearly 50% of all small businesses in South Africa are owned by women. But despite this impressive statistics, women entrepreneurs in South Africa still face significant challenges. And that is obviously one of those is really the limited access to funding. So that's why today, as we know, so we're really excited to present this opportunity for you, where you can walk out with 25,000, and this will help you grow your business, and you will also make an impact in the community. So yeah, I'm encouraging everybody to apply, and we can't wait to see those applications, and yeah, all the best. Thank you, Rebo.
Thank you so much for that, Joe. There are just two questions which have been raised. I'm happy to answer to them. So the first question is the pitch scheduled for the 11th going to be virtual or in person? So this pitch will be virtual, and it is set to take place starting at 4 o'clock up until 6 p.m. I mean, as somebody who might be participating in that particular pitch, you wouldn't necessarily have to stay throughout the entire duration, but so you'd need to be available somewhere between 4 p.m. And 6 p.m. and it will be facilitated via Zoom. Okay, I hope that answers your question. The next question, how do we get notifications of workshops? Maybe before we get to that question, to Joe's point, so we will be sending out an email with the criterion and the rubric, so that you are obviously able to prepare in accordance, especially with the rubric, and to make sure that your submission ticks all the requirements. So a question from Nana says, how do we get notifications of workshops and how do we become members of Wenosa? So Nana, we actually have a committee run, which we will publish towards the end of May, if I'm not mistaken, where we will be calling for committee members. So this communication, because we do have, the participants on our database, so we will make that communicate or send the communication to yourselves as well. Anybody who might be interested, who reckons that they could add sufficient value to the organization, etc., is then welcome to apply for one of those committee roles. I'm just trying to see if there is another question. There doesn't seem to be. Akoliwe, is that an old hand or a new one? Akoliwe? Okay, it might be an old hand. So that's that, ladies. So we'll send that email as soon as possible. And if you guys can just start getting your documentation together. The submission deadline in terms of the pitch is the 28th. And then we have got about, I think, a week to vet the documentation, make the short listings. So any business who is then shortlisted would be contacted and then attend the pitching session on the specified date. All right. So we have officially come to the end of our session. Ladies, we cannot thank you enough for availing yourselves for the session.